Good morning, we are Group 4 and we will be discussing the phosphorus cycle. The phosphorus cycle's main element is phosphorus, circulated through a variety of mass transfer channels throughout the environment. The element that is most limited in any specific ecological system out of all those regenerated in the biosphere is phosphorus because it is the scarcest. It is indispensable to life, playing a crucial role in the transfer of energy and the transmission of genetic information in every cell's deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA. Phosphorus is an essential nutrient found in the macromolecules of humans and other organisms since it is a major constituent of nucleic acids, phospholipids, and key component of molecules that store energy such as ATP or adenosine triphosphate, DNA, and lipids. The phosphorus cycle is slow. Most phosphorus in nature exists in the form of phosphate ion. Phosphorus is often the limiting nutrient, or nutrient that is most scarce and thus limits growth in aquatic ecosystems. When nitrogen and phosphorus from fertilizer are carried in runoff to lakes and oceans, they can cause eutrophication, the overgrowth of algae. The algae may deplete oxygen from the water and create a dead zone. Phosphorus is an essential nutrient for animals and plants. Its inorganic form of phosphorus is phosphate, which plants absorb and use in the synthesis of organic compounds. Insufficient phosphorus in the soil can result in a decreased crop yield. Now that we know a little bit more about phosphorus, it's time to look at the key steps of the phosphorus cycle. First, we have weathering. Over time, rain and weathering cause rocks to release phosphate ions and other minerals. This inorganic phosphate is then distributed in soils and water through leaching into groundwater or surface water, eventually reaching the sea. The next step is consumption, decomposition, and excretion. Plants take up inorganic phosphate from the soil. The plants may then be consumed by animals. Once in a plant or animal, the phosphate is incorporated into organic molecules such as DNA. The organic phosphate is returned to the soil when the plant or animal dies by either decomposition of biomass or excretion by consumers. The next step is mineralization. Within the soil, organic forms of phosphate can be made available to plants by bacteria that break down organic matter to inorganic forms of phosphorus. This process is known as mineralization. Next is uplift. As mentioned, phosphorus in soil can end up in waterways and eventually oceans. Once there, it can be incorporated into sediments over time. Over long periods of time, phosphorus-containing sedimentary rock may be moved from the ocean to the land by a geological process called uplift. However, this process is very slow, and the average phosphate ion has an oceanic residence time, or the time in the ocean, of 20,000 to 100,000 years. Altering the cycle creates an environmental impact. These alterations are mostly hosted by humans. Actions such as phosphorus mining, transporting it in fertilizers, animal feeds, agricultural crops, and other products. By releasing mined phosphates into the ecosystems, particularly in the form of fertilizers, phosphate rock mining affects the phosphorus cycle. Moreover, overuse of phosphorus is common among farmers. As a result, lakes, reservoirs, streams, and ponds have phosphorus difficulties posed by runoff from agricultural areas. Other than altering the cycle by human actions, climate change can also influence phosphorus levels. Phosphate ions and other minerals are released from rocks over time by weathering and precipitation. Now that we have talked about human actions and climate change, let's move on to the next topic, which will be discussed by the next presenter.
The gradual and continuous alteration of the cycle also manifested effects to biodiversity, water quality, food security, and human health. Biodiversity. Humans have changed the phosphorus cycle by adding phosphorus for crop production and removing phosphorus through soil management practices, resulting in erosion and leaching. On the other hand, increased precipitation can increase soil erosion, hence increasing the phosphorus transport with other nutrients into the soil, freshwater environment, and into the coastal water. Excess amount of phosphorus promotes the growth of large aquatic plants and algae, which can result in decreased amounts of dissolved oxygen, a process known as eutrophication. In a biodiversity experiment, plants and soil microbes utilize phosphorus resources to a greater extent the more diverse the plant community was. Animal growth and development require phosphorus as well. Animals utilize this to absorb DNA, produce skeletal tissue, and transfer energy. Water quality. The growth of harmful blue-green algae, fish mortality, and decreased quality of affected water bodies are all consequences of phosphorus pollution of water bodies caused by sewage discharge and drainage from agricultural land. In addition, high phosphorus levels can cause algae blooms that create toxins from the algae that are dangerous to both human and animal health. Food security. Plants utilize phosphorus for the development and expansion of their roots, the generation of seeds and fruit, and the transfer of energy. Phosphorus deficit can result in smaller fruits, slowed plant growth, and delayed maturity. Only by maintaining the flow of phosphorus to global agriculture will food security be guaranteed. The consumption of phosphate rock, a non-renewable resource, is also concerning as future phosphorus shortages or price increases could endanger the availability of food. Human health. Phosphorus is used to create and maintain the health of our bones and teeth along with calcium. It helps our bodies manufacture energy, maintain a stable pH, form our genetic material DNA and RNA, and help the body receive oxygen from the red blood cells. Phosphorus can be found in a wide range of meals, especially those high in protein. However, studies show that a high dietary phosphorus intake reduces bone mass, induces vascular calcification, and causes or worsens kidney disease, whereas a low dietary phosphorus intake has the opposite effect in different animal models. To conclude, the phosphorus cycle affects many facets of the environment and our lives. As explained, the growing population of humans and its societal needs have interrupted the cycle, thereby increasing its risks and dangers. It is therefore important for us students to learn about these matters and, if possible, find holistic ways we can help to find solutions through efficient and effective research. We may not have much capacities, but every piece of knowledge we produce will be of great help.